Well, hello everyone. Welcome to my shop. All right, and welcome. Well, today we're going to break a little bit from what I normally do, and we are not going to work on the Chevy, nor are we going to work on the GMC. Today is oil change day, and we're going to work on over there. A Ford! This is my 1998 F-150. This is the only vehicle that I bought for myself brand new. I drove it off the showroom floor, and I've had it since '98, and I just turned 160,000 miles on it. It's been a real good truck, and I like to try to keep it going for as long as I can. So I change the oil on 5,000 mile intervals. I also rotate the tires, because replacing the tires on this thing is a pretty massive, pretty expensive undertaking. So I try to keep them rotated when I do the oil changes. Stay tuned. Now, I know some of you guys, you GM Chevrolet guys, you may not want to see this, and I can understand. But stay tuned, and we're going to change the oil and filter on this Ford. We're going to check some other filters out, and we're going to recharge the air conditioner. So stay tuned. Alright, I'm going to tell you a little bit about this thing. It's like I said, it's a 98. I bought it brand new. It's got the 4.6 Triton V8. In 98 and 99, well 97 and up, I believe, these were reputed to have issues with spark plugs blowing out. This is the 2-valve engine, and I'm still only on my second set of plugs on this thing. I may put some thought into changing the plugs out soon, but to tell you the truth, I'm not having any troubles at all. This thing dropped out of an airplane with a good tailwind would get me about 18 miles per gallon, and that's what it's still getting me, between 17 and 18. When that mileage gets worse, or if it's harder to start, or if I detect the performance going on, well, then I'll go ahead and do the plugs. But at this point, this is only the second set of plugs that's ever been in this truck. Now this is the XLT Off Road, so it's got a lower ratio rear end in it, and it's got skid plates and towing package. It's been a really good truck. Now some of you GM boys, you probably don't want to hear that, but I've had to replace the alternator. I think I've been on 3 batteries, and this is the 3rd set of tires I've put on it. What else have I had to replace? I had to replace an EGR tube, and other than filters, that's been it. That's the only problems it's given me. I've had to I have had to have the transmission fluid flushed out and replaced, and I'm going to get that done again. I noticed at about 100,000 miles I started feeling it slipping some, and ends up that if I would have read my book, every 75,000 miles they recommend to change the transmission fluid. So I went to 100,000. Did that, slipping went away. So I kind of lucked out. I flushed the radiator a couple times. Otherwise, I mean, I couldn't ask for a better truck. And at 160,000 miles, I want to keep it around longer. So anyway, that's pretty much it. Let's get to it. Alright, this is a look underneath it. This truck has lived its entire life. It was made in the now closed Norfolk, Virginia plant, and it's spent its entire life down south here. So that will tell you, this is what a a truck can look like when you can keep the road salt off of it. Now, I did drive this in the few snows we would get down here, and we do get that road salt, but I try to keep it clean underneath. And let's see if we can show where that oil filter is. The oil drain right there. I think it's showing it. Can't remember if it was a 5/8 or a 11/16. Had to give you a little persuasion. I don't know why I'm showing this. All you all that's watching this knows how to change oil. Well, I tell you where that where the oil filter's at though is unusual, and I will show you that. Oh, I should have. Get some hot oil. We'll let him drain down and go from there. One of the unique things about this off-road package and the 4.6, I don't know if the 5.4 is the same, but they do a remote oil filter, and it's here under the front, on the front driver's side or left side fender. Now, some could argue that that puts it in harm's way right behind the bumper, but it's right next to this brace, this frame piece right here, and the bumper could collapse in certain accidents to crush that. Of course, the engine, if it's hit that hard, it's going to stall the engine anyway, and it's going to do a lot more major damage to the front of the motor anyway, because to bend this metal frame piece and this metal bumper would take some massive impact. But anyway, I just wanted to show how unusual it is that it was they put it up here. Another thing that's nice about doing an oil change on this with the off-road package and these tall tires, which are 17s. Of course, this came out before 19s and 20s and 22s were popular, and back in '98. But I can crawl under here, don't have to jack it up. So anyway, let's get that filter off. All right, I'm going back with this Traveler 530. Yeah, I know it's dyno oil, and I know they make oil that's for a high mileage and everything. Well, I've been running Traveler for years and years, and I haven't had any oil-related issues. So that's what I'm running. This I like to go back with Motorcraft filters, oil filters, the standard 820S. All right, there we go. And you can see that's back when I changed it the last time. So it's taken 14 months for me to put 5,000 miles on this truck, and that's something. Anyway, I'm going to pre-fill the filter before I put it on. Now, I'm only going to go halfway because the filter goes on sideways, so some's going to spill out. So anyway, I like to put the date on it when I get it on there. And now let's fill this thing up with some oil. Alright, it calls for 6 quarts. And I'd say a lot of that's got to do with that remote oil filter. Filling them lines. So I feel safe in putting all these 5 quarts in there. And I put a half a quart in the filter. It'll probably still take half to another quart to fill this dude up. Yeah, no, there's a big debate on what to run in these things. I did for one time. I did run Sin Blend Valvoline. I like Valvoline, but they, I mean, you'd think they'd be putting gold in it or something. You know, when you can find a standard dyno oil that does the same, that gives the same protection, which I know there's debate upon what's better, dyno or synthetic or semi-synthetic. Actually, if I had a new engine, I would be running synthetic more than likely. But you know, I really don't have any qualms about running in this. I don't have any spots. This doesn't leak anything at all. But you know, I just run dyno oil for 160,000 miles. Well, I'd say out of the 160,000, I've run dyno probably 100,000. Anyway. Dipstick's way over here. You know, one thing I don't like is that this is a hard dipstick to read. I don't know why. For years and years, Ford, you know, all manufacturers, they had you know, those flat bladed type. You know, now Ford had to go to this round looking thing. And it's just hard to read. If you can see here, it's just kind of hard to read, especially when the oil is clean. And we're about a half quart low. Let's put some more in there. Start it up and let's see what happens. Let me put you all the way down. All right, fire in the hole. Showing good oil pressure, and like I say, those cam phasers, they're just as quiet as can be with that 5W30. It's amazing how with that 1030 on a cold engine, how it would how noisy they'd be. It's just amazing. But anyway, let's take a look at our underneath here. Let's see what's going on while we're still running. See, here's our oil filter. Right there. Okay. Looking good. There's our old pan over there. I see no drips. Alright. I'll tell you, for 160,000 miles, underneath of this truck looks pretty dadgum good. I know some of you boys up north don't get them to last this long. I used to live up north. Okay. All right. I'm gonna have to work on figure out my. I think I'm low on Freon too. So we're going to surface that here shortly. All right, I had topped the oil off before I started it. Now let's see how low he is. about the hardest to read dipstick. Well, he's a good half a quart. At least half a quart. All right. Put some more in there. We'll guesstimate half a quart. Let's try that. Well, that's not good. Is that enough time to get down? Let's see what we got. I could put a hair more in there. Let's see. I like it at the very tip top. Yeah, I could put just a hair more. Couple ounces. Cups, I guess. A couple cups. That lid fell down there in no man's land. The other thing I need to check is that air filter. I've got it wrote down inside. I'm just too lazy to go look. And this can kind of be a pain to get to this air filter. Well, not to get to it, they put it back together. The way he comes apart. All right, let's see what the oil is now before I move on. All right. Right on the mark. That's where I like it. Right at the very tip top, and we're going to double check him again. Go from there. I get a little lazy in keeping check on this. I'm just so I don't see any spots where I park it. I don't see any smoke right smack dab on the top. And so I get a little lazy in keeping a check on the oil, and it does not use oil at all. I have never had to put oil in this in between oil changes every 5,000 miles. That's pretty good. All right, that's the air filter. It's kind of a... Now there's a train of thought that says you ought not to blow them out, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to blow it out because they do it. Farmers do it all the time to get all that chaff and everything out because they're running real expensive filters. So anyway, that's what the air filter looks like in this dude. Well, nothing really come out. You know, there's several trains of thought on blowing out air filters. I've been trained by technical folks in both aspects to blow them out and not to blow them out. The ones that indicate not to blow them out will tell you that the dust builds up and it helps make the seal in the air filter, and which improves its filtering capacity. And there's others that say, well, that's that the buildup hinders airflow. So and these have been educators that's wanted to set me straight. So, and this is what I was saying, getting this lined up just right. You just got to get it just right, or he's not going to. He is just not going to clamp on easily. there good. He's broke. Okay. And he goes through the clamp. All right. I guess the easiest thing to do is get him started down there first. There. There. Now. And there we go. Pain in the butt. But it seals good. What we got down there? I don't need to generate no alarms down there. Okay. They had the only recall this truck had was had to do with the cruise control and the harness here to the brake. So you can see that this has had the update done. I took it back to the dealer and had that done. Brake fluid looks good. All right. Power steering fluid looks good. See, I think it's probably due for some coolant change because it's probably not going to be green. Well, it's still somewhat, a little bit green, can't tell. Yeah, still green, okay. Probably get that done maybe by winter. All right. Everything's looking good over on this side. All right. Here's my low pressure side for the air conditioner. I'll be hooking it up. Battery terminals look good. Let's see. Yeah, all right, no corrosion. Good deal. Truck sits more than it runs anymore, so all right. Plenty of washer fluid. All right. Good deal. We'll start it up, check the transmission fluid, and matter of fact, before I start it up, I'm going to check it before. I want to smell it. See if there's any burnt smell. One thing you want to do is smell your, transmission fluid has a unique smell to it. And it should not smell burnt. If it's burnt, you got clutches and bands wearing out and slipping. And it does not smell burnt. It's good and red. Good deal. All right. You always want to check it running. They say neutral. Park's the same thing. All right. All right. My once over looks good. Let's start him up. Again. And I'm going to check that transmission fluid. Right on. Of course, it'll be different hot, and that's actually still kind of warm because I ran him pretty good running around picking parts up this morning. All right. Very good. we're going to service that air conditioner. I don't have the real gauges. All I have is this, you know, flaps. This gauge set up here. Yeah, that goes to your low pressure side. That's where your can, and it's got the puncture in it. Of course, there's your gauge. Now, what we want is we want to open it all the way. I'm going to be able to screw the can on first and then run the valve down to puncture it. Oh, before I do that, I'm going to turn it on max air conditioner, high fan. Down there, and what happens is it's short cycling. See if I can get some light. Now it's running, and you can see it there. It shut off. Now it's running, and it shut off. It should run more than that. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and hook the can up and see what we get. Now, this is the AutoZone brand here. That's what I'm running with. So anyway. Alright, got the can connected. Now I'm not that up on all the air conditioning terms, but right here where I'm unscrewing with my hand is the low pressure side right there on that can right there. That's the low pressure side. That's where I'm going to hook the gauge up to. You can kind of see it. Get that out of the way. Alright, kind of see it right here. Right now I'm hooking my gauge up. Alright. Now it's showing me. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to puncture the can and put some in there. Alright, it's already adding some. Still going low. Surely it's not that low. I'm sure this is punctured all the way. this properly, I'd have the high and low pressure gauge set up, and I'd also have a thermometer that sticks in the vents, which I don't have. So most like it hits pressure and then it cuts it off. It's definitely running longer though. Feels lighter. I guess I put it all in there. All right. Well, it's definitely punctured it. All right. He seems to be running better. It's not cycling as often. I may take it and let an air conditioning man look at it, because it'll settle down to the ambient temp outside is about 60s. Low 70s because we're raining, and according to this chart, the ambient temp is around 65 to 70. It should run about 25 to 35 psi, and that's kind of where it's doing. It's dropping just a little bit below 25. So I don't want to put any more in it, and this stuff is expensive. So I may let an air conditioning man look at it, but it's putting out ice cold air right now. I mean, it's really, it'll run you out. So anyway, we put this whole can in it, and considering how I've never had anything done to this system, air conditioning system, and this is what, a 98. Right. Still acting like there's a charge still in the can. So, feels almost empty. All right, good deal. That's where we're going to leave it then. So here I am throwing a Ford on you. Well, I got to tell you, I like these Ford. I especially like this Ford. This Ford, I've had it since brand spanking new. I bought it new. I traded a little Ford Ranger for it, as a matter of fact. And before that, I had an '84 F150 four-wheel drive, just an old plain custom XL. Had the 302 3-speed automatic, but C4, and it would blast through snow berms like nobody's business. We don't get much snow down here, so when we did get it, I'd use it to go out and play. I'd make runs to get people groceries and such. But anyway, you had to get out and turn the hubs to lock them down and put them in four-wheel drive. So what I like about this is it has a little switch there on the console. It uses vacuum, and you throw that switch, bang, locks your front hubs. So anyway, like I was saying earlier, this is I've just turned 160,000 miles on it. Bought it brand new. It had maybe 5 miles on it when I bought it. It's what, a 98, so it's what, 32 years old. I've really not had to do any major work to it at all. It's a daily driver, but I don't drive it daily as much as I used to. But it's been such a good truck. I showed you the underneath. I have driven, and you know, we use a little bit of road salt down here, but nothing compared to like you fellas up north do. So, you know, anytime I would run through that, the salt and the brine, I would make sure I'd go to the car wash, because that would wash underneath, and I would pressure wash underneath too. So I tried to make sure I kept, you know, I'd keep that stuff down to a minimum. So far, it's done pretty good. This is the 4.6. Like I stated earlier, it's you know, since it's a 98, it's got coil packs on each head bank. You know, it hit the front of the head. You know, for this for 4 plugs, and the others for the other 4 plugs. So this doesn't even have coilovers. That's you know, so you would think, you know, it would be higher technology, but you know, technology has passed this by too. It's only a 4-speed automatic, and you know, I think, what are they up to, 8, 12 speeds now? And but it's been real good. This was built, they made this truck, it was the 50-year anniversary truck in '98, and they made this truck in Norfolk, Virginia, and it was which has since been closed. I believe they've moved that plant maybe to Mexico or somewhere else, or just closed it. And they really built a good truck up there in Norfolk. I mean, I don't know what other trucks, how they fared from there, but this truck, it was put together great. You know, when I only had to take it back twice for dealer work. One time was it has analog brakes, but it's got shoes in the back, and they would lock up. And they had to put larger shoes on it. That fixed that. And then they had a recall on the cruise control, the little wire harness over there, and which they said could start a fire. So they replaced that. Other than that, alternator, batteries, serpentine belt, that EGR tube over there, which was kind of a pain. A couple O2 sensors. I have redone the exhaust, but it wasn't because it was bad. It was just you know, I had to have dual exhaust. You know, 4 horsepower. You know, go fast, which I don't do. So that's crazy. So it's been a really good truck. I've had several Fords, several Chevys. I don't really prefer one over the other, although I do like the small block Chevy V8 pretty good. And the LS's, I've not had any experience with them yet. I may see here, you know, shortly how I like them, but this 4.6, it's not giving me. It's only on the second set of plugs. I'm not, you know, plugs are good for 100,000. I'm 160. If my gas mileage was to suffer, if it was to vibrate bad, miss bad, or have power issues, well, I'd be changing them. But I'm not. I haven't. This is only the second set, and they're nowhere near giving me a problem of blowing out, like some's been reputed to say. This is a 2-valve setup. In '99 they went to the 3-valve, which I think had the more prevalent problem with the plug blowing out. But I could be wrong on that. They were more power too. Sometimes I think, oh, I'd like to have more power over this, but you know, after 32 years, it does what I want. It's hauled everything I've wanted to haul. It even hauled that Chevy home. So I don't have a problem with having to do something to it, even though I would think, you know, they get what, 300-400 horsepower out of a 4.6 going into Mustangs. It'd be curious to see what it would take to pump that kind of power out of this. But anyway, I've opened the last couple of videos with showing my flags up front. You know, these days and times are crazy. It seems like anarchy's reigning. Everything that's good and historical is being, it's like they're trying to throw away the past. You can't throw away the past. But if you've ever served in your country's military, well, you become attached to the flag. The flag means more than just a cloth. You've known people that's passed away under serving it with that and leading the charge. And I just hate to see it disrespected. So I'm showing that now as like a sign of respect. Now, my friends from Canada, Mexico, England, Ireland, France, South America, Australia, Brazil, Argentina. I may be missing some of these countries. Now, this is not meant to be to say that this is better, or that I'm better, that this country is better. I'm just saying this is where I'm from, where I live, and I have a pride for it. I expect you have a pride for your country and your flags, and I would expect nothing different. One thing, when I served, I basically went around the world. I've been to many countries. A few countries I did not get to. I wished I would have. England would have been one, South Africa, and Australia. I would have liked to have gone to South America, but I never did cross the equator, unfortunately. So I'm not a shellback, or does that make me a shellback? Well, you Navy guys know what I'm talking about. But I got to experience other cultures, other people, and you know, in a perfect world, we'd all get along. You know, we would all get along. But unfortunately, we're not in a perfect world. We're in a broken world. And the best we can do is try to get along. And hopefully, those of you that aren't American or live in America understand where I'm coming from. I want you to feel welcome and valued with me and on my side as you would on a site or with people in your own country. I may not converse with you in your language, but it doesn't mean that I can't learn to use a translator. You know what I mean? So anyway, that's why I'm showing them flags. It's just a sign of respect to show that I stand for what, to me, this country stands for freedom. And not just for us, but for the entire world. And that's what I have respect for, and that's what I'm showing support for freedom. You want to protest? Protest. You don't have the right. There's a difference between protesting and rioting. And rioting is not supported by freedom. You do not have freedom to riot, to burn and pillage other people's properties. So I'm putting that flag up. I'm showing the flag just to show my support for freedom and for freedom of the world. But anyway, before it's done, the air is putting out pretty good. I may haven't looked at it. I don't know. We'll see. We'll just see. You know, it's not July yet. July and August, when the dog days of summer hit. Down here anyway, it gets extremely hot and humid. So that's when the air conditioning is highly needed. So we'll see from there. But so we're good for another 5,000 miles. And I think I may get on that Toyota and do the brakes. I don't know if I'm going to show that or not. My wife, she goes through some brakes. So I got lifetime guaranteed on them. So I can get new pads free anyway. Well, anyway, so if I don't show it, thanks for watching. I hope you have a good one. And we'll see you around on the next one. See you.